Swiss banking has long been associated with professional, discreet, and secure banking. It's a jurisdiction renowned for neutrality and adherence to the principles of banking confidentiality. Individuals most commonly turn to Swiss banks for two reasons. First, many are looking to safeguard substantial assets from public scrutiny. And second, a number of individuals turn to Switzerland to relieve the heavy burden of taxation. Both groups have traditionally looked to Swiss bank consortiums as a very attractive option. I've been in the business of helping clients establish international bank accounts since 1994, and my team and I have over 40,000 clients. Now, these services are nothing new. Swiss bank accounts have been the leader in international banking for decades, and that is thanks in no small part to political unrest and civil strife around the globe. They have been leaders in financial safety and stability for literally hundreds of years. In fact, the world has witnessed this from the days of Louis the XIV. Further, it has continued to the days preceding the French Revolution on strength through both world wars. Now, safeguarding assets and capital from untoward taxation or suppressive governments was the common thread. And accordingly, the discerning depositor looked to Switzerland to provide these services. The reason that Swiss banking has developed this praiseworthy reputation is this. Its prominence is based squarely on the fact that Switzerland has very sophisticated legislation and regulations in place. The legislature dictates specific parameters for its banks. Moreover, they favor the securing and confidentiality of its foreign deposit accounts where possible, further enhancing its reputation for the Swiss banks offering unprecedented professionalism. Moreover, this demonstrates utter reliability in arguably the most stable banking environment in the world. The history of Swiss banking can trace its origins back to 1934. Their government enacted the law in large part because of the looming German Nazi threat and political turmoil in France. Both entities attempted to press Swiss banks into divulging depositor information in the name of the good of the state. The Swiss responded with the banking law of 1934, and this law basically outlined the rules for account confidentiality. It also provided a legal basis for such basis. Finally, it provided for criminal penalties for those who undermine the confidentiality of depositor accounts. This results in the current situation that basically, and simply put here, holds rules and regulations inflexible. That is, with respect to deposit and transactional confidentiality and the identities of depositors or accounts, except for the new FATCA laws, they do not relinquish banking histories lightly. There must be a substantial criminal allegations before a government agency, especially a foreign one, can pierce the confidentiality shield. Even in the accusation of tax evasion, which we certainly don't recommend, they would not be able to pierce through the confidentiality. This accusation simply isn't a serious enough offense in Switzerland, accounting to nothing more than a misdemeanor. It is certainly not enough to compromise the rules. Now, let's talk about Swiss numbered bank accounts. This exotic-sounding numbered bank account is nothing more than an account identified by a number. A number, rather than a depositor's name, identifies the account. Swiss banks set the standard for numbered accounts, and even so, there must be an actual name person linked to that numbered account. But the bank closely holds the identity. It is unbeknownst to few but the senior banking officials in the Swiss bank in which it's held. Swiss banking today. Some older institutions in other industries may wither and die with changing technologies. There may be techniques that obsolete their purpose or methodology. This is absolutely not the case with the Swiss banking institution. Swiss banking has adapted rapidly in response to the whirlwind technological pace set by today's world. From electronic funds transfer to megabit encryption security technologies, the Swiss banks are at the forefront of modern banking practice. Mostly gone are the days of hand signature cards and suitcases and hand meetings. These are now replaced ever so incrementally with electronic signatures and internet-based wire transfers. Tax compliance is part of the game today, and international anti-money laundering standards are in place to keep the good guys in and the bad guys out. Let's talk about FATCA. That's a U.S. law. With the onset of the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, or FATCA, in the U.S., banks that want to transmit U.S. currency must provide tax transparency for U.S. account holders. The U.S. Congress enacted legislation on March 18, 2010, and expanded it on December 31, 2012. The purpose was to enforce international tax collection. After all, somebody has to pay for the radar. A study from Texas A&M concluded that the act will create less than $2.5 billion in revenues over an 11-year period. This is as opposed to Congress's $8.7 billion estimate at the same time period. A report in Forbes, however, indicates that the cost to enforce FATCA during these years will cost $8 billion. So bringing in $2.5 billion extra at a cost of $8 billion, probably not a very good gamble. As a result of this high cost of compliance, many Swiss banks have decided not to accept U.S.-based clients. However, there are several banks in Switzerland who do accept U.S. clients. Thus, to offset this cost, the banks who do accept Americans have a minimum deposit requirement of around $250,000 to $1 million, depending on the institution. Today, Swiss banks also act as investment houses. They employ some of the most skilled money managers, so there are options to trade stocks, bonds, mutual funds, precious metals, and so on. Alternatively, you can have a trained financial advisor oversee your portfolio. So in conclusion, it should be obvious that Swiss banks continue to provide real-world attainable solutions to many issues facing today's successful businessman or woman, especially when it comes to safeguarding their liquid assets, whether it be protection from undue regulation, political turmoil, economic uncertainty, or even a litigious former spouse. A Swiss banking account may just be the solution you're looking for. If you need more information, or if you'd like to establish a Swiss bank account, please visit offshorecompany.com or give us a call at the number on our website. Thank you.